Creepypastas, whether we love them, love to hate them, hate to love them, or don't even know about them. All of us, for the most part, love them. Or, at least have heard of them. Today, we're going to debunk some creepypastas. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. Number 1. Laughing Jack. A long time ago, there was a kid named Isaac. He had no friends for the most part, and pretty abusive parents. A guardian angel saw this and took pity on him, and gave him a laughing jack-in-the-box. Now, what's different about this, compared to regular jack-in-the-boxes, is that after the Pop Goes the Weasel song is done, a magical clown that was made to be his best friend for life popped out, and ended up pretty much just staying around with Isaac for a while. They became best friends, they did everything together. Now, the only downside was obviously, whenever his parents were around, Jack had to go into hiding, or else they wouldn't let them be best friends anymore, according to him. Eventually, one of their games ended up taking a dark turn, and Isaac had to be sent away. When he came back changed. More dark and evil. And he didn't exactly remember that Jack existed. So he went down a really dark path, and one day, when the shelf that the Jack-in-the-Box was on gave way, Laughing Jack came back out. But just like Isaac, he was also changed. They played one more game together, and Jack ended the life of his best friend, promising to do the same to any other friends that he would make along the way. Now, when it comes to this one, I can't really say that Jack was meant to be evil, considering he did warn Isaac, "I change along with you." The only reason he changed and became what he became is because Isaac forgot about him and also changed into this deranged psychopath, murderer, basically. So that's how I look at that one. Number 2, Eyeless Jack. Just your regular guy living the college life with his roommate and also not really being very social. The only other person he really knew, I'd say even rather well, was a girl named Jenny that just so happened to know him because they're in the same class. After a nightmare about this cult, he ended up being woken up by his roommate to be told that fires were being set in the forest. Curiosity got the better of him, and even though his roommate warned him not to, he went to go check it out. When he got into the forest, he ended up finding this cult. Jenny just so happened to be in it. The cult ended up using him as a sacrifice, taking out his eyes, and turning him into this monster. He ended up pretty much ending the lives of everyone except for Jenny, and then proceeded to tell her, when she begged him to release her, that all of you don't deserve paradise to begin with, and all of you can burn. In the next story, we see him as this monster who for some reason apparently likes to eat kidneys and is also a killer. No one knows where he is now, but we do know he's still out there. Same thing here. I can't really say he was born a monster either. He was a regular person until they did what they did to him, turning him into what he is now. Number 3, Tiki Toby. Sometimes monsters are right in front of us, or inside of us, and we don't notice it until it's too late. Toby Rogers, just your average, I think 18 or 17-year-old. Now here's the difference. Toby has some complications, CIP, or congenital insensitivity to pain, which means he can't physically feel any pain at all. And Tourette's, which is a syndrome that leads to stuttering and twitching. He was bullied a lot for this in school and therefore was taken out of school and homeschooled. The only friend he really had was his sister, who ended up getting into a car accident and unfortunately losing her life with him in the car. His abusive dad never came to check to see what happened. And when he got home, he pretty much shut himself away from his mom and dad because of this. Eventually, he gave in to the voices in his head and ended the life of his father, just to be asked why by his mom, flee the scene, set fire to his neighborhood, slip into the forest, and join up as a proxy to the Slender Man. No one knows where he is now. We just know that once again, he's still out there. I can't necessarily say he is evil either, because again, while he may be now, he wasn't always like that. He was a regular kid who just had some problems, and obviously was treated very horribly because of it, which I think is disgusting, but that's my personal opinion. Number 4. Jeff the Killer. There's 2 different versions of this story, but both of them pretty much end up the same way. In one version, Jeff and his family move to a new neighborhood to start a new life there. Jeff and his brother Lou are confronted by some bullies when they go to get some tapes from a video store, and let's just say Jeff beats them up pretty badly before they end up leaving. This all started, by the way, when they saw that their bikes were being ridden around by these 3 just random people in the neighborhood, and Jeff and Lou went to confront them. It was then made to look like they started the fight. Lou ended up getting taken to jail after standing up for his brother, and Jeffrey, later on, was told to go over to Randy's house, aka the kid, who was basically the leader of those 3, the others being Troy and Keith, and make friends with him. Things went south when they went to the garage after a lot of fun together, which pretty much was just them playing video games and stuff, and they actually had a fun time. Like I said, then went to the garage and started playing with the flare gun. Troy and Keith came over, and, well, let's just say things didn't go well. Randy ended up telling the truth that he ended up pretty much just telling his goons about this, and again, the plan was for them to make friends, yeah, but when their parents left, that's when things changed. That's when Randy and his goons were going to get payback on Jeff for what he did to them. That didn't go over well. They got beat up again. Randy's mom came home. Randy got scared and tried to put the flare gun away, but didn't do it correctly. And by that I mean pretty much just failed at keeping his nerves together, dropped the flare gun, and made it discharge in Jeffrey's face. When Jeff woke up, not completely awake yet, he ended up hearing his parents saying that according to them, Randy told them that Jeffrey was the one playing with the flare gun and was the one who discharged it into his own face by accident. And for some reason, they believed that. Yeah, not very good parenting here so far. You'll realize that later on too. So, let's just say when they finally got out of the hospital, Lou asked if they could do something nice for Jeff. Their parents' responses were, both of you just go to sleep. Jeff, pretty much I think at this point just having enough of it, ended up ending the lives of his parents after telling them, how could you do this, basically. More or less to his mom than to his dad, but bottom line telling him, I just want to point out, Lou, after the first altercation, had a busted lip and you ignored it. Randy, for some reason, told you everything he told you. And again, you believed him instead of your own children. I'm very confused as to why this happened the way it did. So explain to me. And his mom tried to come up with some, thing about how they just were trying to fit in and be nice here and she's sorry. He wasn't having any of it and just told her to go to sleep before ending her life. He then told Lou, you're free, I love you, and left. In a different version of the story, The same thing kind of happens, but not the same way. At the bus stop, they're confronted by these bullies. Jeff gets this feeling and ends up basically pummeling the bullies before they end up running from the scene. Same thing happens. Lou goes to jail, takes the blame for his brother, and then later on, Jeff gets confronted by the bullies at a party that he was forced to go to just to end their lives in front of everyone after Randy kind of confessed to being the reason Lou had to go to juvie in the first place. And then, well, let's just say when he tried to end Keith's life, things before that kind of went south. They ended up getting drenched in alcohol and bleach. The first one being from Randy's fight, and Keith set him on fire. Eventually, when he saw his face, any mental stability, I guess you could say, that he had snapped, his psyche snapped, and he went insane. He ended up burning out his eyelids and also carving a smile into his face. When his mom saw this, he asked her if she thought he was beautiful. She said yes, just to go back to the room and tell her husband to get the gun. Jeffrey came to the room, said, "Mommy, you lied," and proceeded to end the lives of his entire family. No one knows where he is now, but we do know one thing. If you ever feel alone and get that weird feeling that you're being watched, that something isn't right and that someone might be there with you, when you hear the phrase "go to sleep," that is how you know Jeff the Killer has found you, and you may or may not become one of his next victims. Now, I can't say in either story he started off evil either. I can say that in one of the stories, he definitely, I guess you could say, started off a bit different, considering it says that he always had this weird feeling and just didn't give into it until now. But I can't necessarily say he was evil. I can say that in a way he was made that way, especially in the first telling, because of just bad parenting and the fact that they wouldn't believe their own children, which is very sad. Second one, that's a bit different, but even then I don't know if I can say he necessarily started out that way. I feel like if anything it was the environment that made him into what he was. But that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Won't be uploading tomorrow. Again, I think at this point my schedule is going to be Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, because those are also the days I don't have school. So I'll be doing videos then, and then maybe like a live stream on Saturday. And yeah, we'll take it from there. If you guys like this video, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and until then, I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, this is your favorite Super Saiyan / Demigod signing off. Love you guys, and peace out.